Okay, started recording. So I'm going to put it on slideshow mode. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining. So today's session give you a flavor of introduction to golf. Please feel free to stop anytime and ask questions. If I'm going to cover that topic, I will tell you. But if you already know golf, most of the things you know, but you might still pick up a couple of things, because when I was preparing for this, I did pick up some couple of things I did not know. Right, so it's always that is one of the reasons I always volunteer for training, right? Because I get to know some things which I did not know before. Right, so if you already know golf, it may be a bit boring for you, but I'm sure it
Since
will be
when you have been
beneficial.
playing golf now?
So please go on mute if you're not asking
Okay.
questions. So just to give you a background about golf history, golf actually started in Scotland, right? So Scotland, even now, per capita, they have the highest number of golf courses in the world, right? So golf was introduced by a Scots person, John Reid. He actually started a St Andrews Golf Club. So St Andrews Golf Club is actually a very famous club in Scotland. So many British Opens are held there. So it's one of the top courses in the world. So I think looks like he started with the same name, St Andrews Golf Club. And then in 1894, USGA was formed, United States, it should be States Golf Association. And in 1916, PGA, so Professional Golfers Association, right? So this is the most powerful association in the world, right? So Professional Golfers Association, even though it is based in America, it is, they have tournaments all over the world. They organize a lot of things. So PGA is, you have to, if you are playing golf, you have to know the word PGA, Professional Golfers Association, right? So they started the tour in 1929, and then LPGA, right, Ladies Professional Golf Association, also established in 1950. So that is the history of golf. So it is pretty recent sport, right? So I think they started including it in Olympics also now. So it is definitely getting a lot of press and attention. So typically in any game, right? So your goal will be to have high score as possible. As high score you take, football or tennis or whichever sport, right? So you will have to have a high score. High score always wins. Whereas in golf, low score always wins, right? So that means you are starting from, say, point A, which is called the tee, and you are reaching point B, which is the hole, right? So from A to B, you have to take as few shots as possible to get the ball in the cup or the hole, right? In the hole, there is that is called the cup. So you have to take as few shots as possible. So typically, if you are a good golfer, you will take, your score will be less and you will take fewer shots and then you win, right? So this is somewhat different from other sports where you have to get a higher score to win. So here lower score wins. Okay, so typically there was a question, right? So before we started, ask how long it will take, right? So it depends on the course. So there are different types of courses. So typically the courses will have either 9 or 18. Most of the courses, standard courses, will have 18 holes, right? So 18 holes means, I will explain to you what is a hole, right? So it starts with a tee box where you start, and then fairway where you hit the ball, and then you finally end up with green, and then you finish with the hole you have to putt, right? So that's what each hole. So like that, there are like 18 holes in each golf course, right? So you can touch the ball only when you are in the tee box, right, to start the drive, and then once it reaches the green, you can touch the ball. So otherwise you should not touch the ball. You should just play wherever the ball is. There are some exceptions, like if you put it in water or something like that, then you might have to take a drop or something like that. But typically, so you should not be touching the ball at all. So from first shot you can touch, and then once it reaches the green, you can mark the ball, you can pick up the ball, you can clean the ball and put it back and then play, right? So until then, even if the ball is dirty or whatever, you have to play as it is, right? So once you start with the tee box, until that hole is finished, you shouldn't touch the ball, right? And there are like typically 14 clubs are there, right? So in the golf bag, the maximum number of clubs allowed is 14. So if actually the PGA or tournaments, if accidentally they have like 15 clubs, they will have a severe penalty or even disqualification, right? So but for us, of course, we don't care, but 14 is more than enough for us, right? So I will explain all the each club what it is, right? So there are three categories of clubs. One is called woods and irons, and then you have also putter, and there is something called a hybrid also. Hybrid is between woods and irons, right? So it is a combination of those. So woods are typically for originally it used to be probably wooden, but that's why they were called woods. But now they are all metal, right? So everything is metal now, like titanium or different types of materials are used, right? So metal woods, there are so if you want to number the clubs, so there is one, right? One is called the driver, right? So you never say number one club, right? So you always say it is a driver, and then there is no two, right? So two nobody uses, right? So but three can be an wood, 3 wood, 5 wood, and again 3, 4, 5, they are also repeated in irons, right? So there are irons also. I will show you diagrams of all these things, right? So 3 to 9, and then there is something called a pitching wedge, which is for very short distances, like 100 yards or something, and sand wedge even for shorter distances, or even for playing from the sand bunker, right? So all these clubs are used for getting the ball from the tee box up to the hole, and once you get onto the hole, then you have to use putter only, right? You should not be using any other club. If you use any other club, you will damage the green, right? Because the green, they spend a lot of time and effort and money to maintain it very, very pristine, right? Pristine. They move it every day, and then they roll it so that there are no holes and everything. They take a lot of care to keep the green clean. So you should not be using any other club except the putter. Putter wouldn't touch the ground, so it doesn't dig up, right? So that's what the number of clubs is. And based on, I will explain all these things on which number goes what distance and all those things. But basically, the lower number club will go longer distance. That's what you have to know for this slide. Okay, so now some of you are newbies, some of you have played, but why do you why do people love golf, right? So once people play golf, they get addicted to it, sort of, because they love it for the company, and you're outdoors enjoying fresh air. And most of the golf courses, particularly the good ones, they are very scenic, right? You can see distance, and there are a lot of trees. You really forget about the whole world and your problems and everything, right? So when I go to the golf course, I just switch off. I don't think about anything, right? So because you are always concentrating on getting a good score, right? So you can enjoy your fresh air. You can forget about the other things, and it can be a very good hobby. And like Vinod, right? Vinod moved into a home which is part of a golf course community. He says that there are 5 courses near him. So many people retired people, they move into like golf communities, right? So that is another good thing about it. And also if you are working, right, like consulting and all those things, plenty of business is conducted in golf courses, right? So people take their clients for golf and all that. So advantage is you are like 4.5 hours you are locked with them, right? So you can definitely, I mean, even though you cannot talk too much about business, but at least you develop a relationship and so on, right? So that is one of the things, good thing about golf. And you can share with families and friends, right? So actually one of my friends mentioned that she put her kid through golf, right? Because she said that golf scholarship is probably easy to get compared to others. I don't know if it's correct or not, but that's what she said, right? So you can, from young age you can involve your family, so you can play even when you're old, right? So that is one of the things. Like if you're tennis and football, basketball, you cannot play after some time. Tennis you can of course keep going, but still golf is totally non-impact sport. And it's not strenuous at all. If you cannot walk, even you can take a cart. There are a lot of advantages in that. And another advantage is, if you are walking, then each 4 to 6 miles stroll over 18 holes, right? So you don't feel it. So I mean, I have problem with my knee, so I take carts in some tough courses, but if smaller courses I just walk, right? So it's really you get good walk and exercise and so on, right? So there are a lot of advantages of why you should play golf. So let me introduce you to scoring, right? So scoring, let us say this is a scorecard for 9 holes, right? So can you please go on mute, Somnath? So 9 holes and then par. So par, what does par mean? You will hear a lot of par mentioned in golf, right? So par is the expected number of strokes it should take to complete each hole. That means for a good player, right? So it doesn't mean that all the players. So if you're not achieving the par, that doesn't mean that you're bad, right? So it just means that you're not as good as probably like some good players, right? So par means the expected number of strokes it should take to complete each hole for a good player. That is not here, but that's for a good player, right? But sometimes many of the professionals, they are even better than good players, right? So they are really good. So they can get what is called a birdie or a eagle, right? So birdie means one stroke under the par. So here, if you look at this, there are some three. First one, hole 1 is par 4, hole 2 is par 4, hole 3 is par 4, but then hole 4 is par 5. So that is a longer hole, right? I have diagrams of explaining all those things. And there is par 3 also, short. So there is no par 6, there is no par 2, right? Each hole will be either par 3 or par 4 or par 5. That's it, right? So and typically 9 holes will be totaling to around 36. It can vary 35, 36 depending on the course. So typically the courses will have like 72, right? So 72, that means 18 holes, and 72 means 4 is the average, right? So most of the holes are 4, and there will be like some par 3s and some par 5s which will even them out. So average will be 4 par per hole, right? Okay, now so we said birdie and eagle, right? So probably as a beginner you will not get birdie and eagle, right? I can guarantee you that it will take you like maybe 1 or 2 years before you will start getting birdie, unless there is always luck there, right? But due to skill, you will not get birdie within 1 year or so, right? Depends on, of course, some players are really good, they can pick it up, right? But then we will be more talking about bogey, double bogey, and triple bogey, right? So bogey means one stroke over the par. So instead of taking 4 shots, right? So in this case, right, instead of taking 3 shots, this Rebecca has taken 4 shots. So that is a bogey, right? So unfortunately, our life will revolve around the bogey, double bogey, and hopefully we will try to avoid some triple bogeys. But most of our scores in the beginning will be bogey or double bogey, right, or triple bogey, right? So 1 stroke over par, 2 strokes over par, or 3 strokes over par, right? And so here, so this Rebecca shot a 4 in hole 1, so we call it she parred it, or she got a par, and she got a 3 where the par is 4, then she got a birdie, and here she got 2 shots under, right? So she got an eagle, and of course this one was a bogey because it was supposed to be 3 but she got a 4, and here it was supposed to be 3 and she got a 5, so it's a double bogey, 2 over, right? Any questions? Any
So
questions on scoring?
this rating of this par, is it based on the toughness of the golf course, or just, I mean, like each golf course, the par will be different, is it?
Mostly same. So typically what will happen is 100 yards, 100 to say 200 yards, right? If the distance, that will be a par 3, and more than around 200 yards to around 450 yards, that will be a par 4, and more than 450 yards will be a par 5. So it wouldn't change that much from course to course. But of course, some tough courses will have longer par 4s and longer par 5s. But typically that is the range, right? So there won't be any hole in a good course less than 100, right? So 100 to 200 will be par 3, 200 to 450 will be par 4, and more than 450 will be par 5.
So up and down does not count, the contour or the
No,
roll
that doesn't count for thing.
for the par. Okay, thank you.
So
Okay.
par is really
Sorry, I had one question on the previous slide.
Yeah. This
Can
is
you
also
go back to
scorecard
that?
only. Yeah.
The previous one. You are going forward, I think. Yeah. These cards are when you start playing, you get it from the
Yeah.
administration department.
Correct. So when
They-
you
so
go
they
to
are
when you
printed.
go pay, when you go pay, they will have the scorecards, and some scorecards they will keep near hole 1. But most of the times these days, I don't use these scorecards. I have an app, right? So I have an app on my phone, and it has got a GPS. So
Okay.
I can easily maintain my score. And the other advantage of the app is that is connected to my Apple Watch, right? So wherever I am, it will tell me the distance to the hole, right? So even if I'm in the middle of the fairway, it will tell me like 200 yards to go, right? So it will tell me so that I can choose the clubs accordingly. So
the app you're saying is for a particular golf course.
Yeah,
like you have to download a different app for each.
Like I use app called Golf Shot, and that app has got more than 20,000 courses programmed in with GPS.
Okay, so all are same.
So it is all by GPS. So depending on where you are, it will tell you for the whole 9 you have to go 187 yards. So it will.
Okay, so let's say I join a golf, let's say golf course.
Yeah.
So I can download that app and then tell it automatically picks up your location.
Yeah, when you go there, it will automatically pick up the course. It will tell you if there are 2-3 courses. It will show you all the 3 courses and say which course you are in, and then you can start.
Oh, that's great. Very good.
No, it's all beautiful these days.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah,
okay, so you get everything, and then you just enter your actuals, right? Your actual you just enter, and then you know
correct.
your score. Okay.
Correct. So,
but one more question.
Yeah.
Supposing you are playing, because golf I've seen people are not playing individuals; they are playing in teams like groups.
Foursomes. Typically, they don't allow more than 4 people per team, right? So 4 people are the maximum. That is why you and then but people can play alone also. That is the beauty of golf, right? If nobody is there and you have time, You can
Yeah.
just go, you can book time and you can go play yourself. And many times if you are a single player, then you can join with somebody else, because there will be other players with 2 or 3, then you can join them, or you can play alone also, right? So it gives you a lot of flexibility. You don't have to rely on, like tennis, you cannot play by yourself. Wall tennis, right?
Yeah, no, I understand. This is something, which you can more like you can play yourself actual game, because you are even able to get the score
enjoy
also.
playing myself. That is why I'm training you all this, so that I can play with you guys.
Yeah, that's fine. So
Nari, I have a couple of questions.
This one, Nari. So basically, you're recruiting for your sake.
Yeah. But I do have a big. I have a golfers group with I think almost 100 people there.
Time to go.
You can join. So once you start playing, I'll put you in that group. So
Sure. Thank you.
Nari, I have a couple of questions. One
Yeah,
is
sure.
when we start learning to play, like clearly we'll go more than 2 shots over par. Is there etiquette, like so you don't hold the people behind you up, like
Correct. Yeah,
how
that's
do
a
you deal
very
with
good
that?
question. So typically, what we do is, see, in PGA golf there is no limit, right? So if in a par 4, if you take 10 shots, you have to mark a 10, right? But what we play maximum is double par. That means in a par 4 situation hole, if you had 8 holes, you just pick up the ball, mark 8, and then move on to the next hole.
Okay.
Yeah.
so if you are not able to put you put the maximum and then move on.
No, suppose if in hole 1 it is par 4, right?
Yeah.
But you had some bad shots, and you have already taken 8 shots and you haven't finished the hole, right? You just pick up the ball, mark 8, and then move on to the next hole. We allow only
Okay,
maximum
without putting the ball actually in. Okay.
Yeah, right. So
You can
maximum
just,
is
because
double
that is
par.
the
If you
limit.
get double par, if in a par 3 it is 6, par 4 it is 8, and then you pick up the ball and move on.
Okay.
That is
That's what you, and I think you might be covering later on, but just question is, if you lose the ball, then what happens?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you lose the ball, then there is a penalty. Yeah, and then you can use another
Sometimes,
ball.
golf courses are there, you just hit it.
Yeah. No,
Then it goes to the bush or something, and you can't find where it is.
Good question. It can you can there will be a lot of water also on the golf course.
Right.
So
Water also
if
falls
you
in the
see
water.
this hole,
Yes.
right? This is blue. That is water, right? So if the ball goes into the water, then you just mark a penalty, and then you have to play from near the water.
So what's the score that you have to put there? Penalty means what?
Yeah, one penalty for.
You lose a stroke.
Penalty is a separate thing. Okay.
Right.
1 stroke added.
Yeah.
Right?
1 stroke added to your score. And if you lose the ball also, there are. I mean, I'm not going. This is only an introduction session. I'm not getting into too much penalty and all those things.
No, these are basics, because when we are especially playing first time, these are the things going to happen definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
So now back to that 8, marking the 8, right? So the 4 people, let's say there are 4 people, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to have each of the 4 keep on going till that other hole, unless one guy is really like taking a longer number of shots. Then we'll mark 8 and move on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Suppose if 3 people are good, they have finished, and the 4th person has not finished, and he has already taken 8 shots. Then you just he will just mark 8, and then you move on to the next hole.
Got it. Okay.
So this card is maintained for your team?
This is not a PGA rule, but this is just most of the players use this so that you don't block the.
This is a courtesy to the next group of.
Yeah.
Nari, this card is for one individual or for, let's say, 4
For
people
all the
are playing
group.
together?
So you will write each name here.
Okay, so there are 4, up to 4 you can write here. Okay.
Yeah, you can write up to 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here.
Okay.
But typically they don't allow more than 4, right? So, okay, if you look at this, right? So you have, this is the typical golf scorecard, right? So you have description of all the holes, how they look, right? See, the hole 1 goes like this and then turns left, right? So this is the green, and this is where you are starting, right?
Yeah.
So it shows you the curvature of each hole. Like 6
Mhm.
goes, this is called dog leg right.
Mhm.
So this is also dog leg right. Most of them are straight, but you will see that the different holes, right? They are longer or shorter based
Yeah.
on the par, right? See, if you look
Yeah.
at this hole 5 is a par
Yeah.
3. Look how short it is.
Yeah. Very small. Yes.
Yeah, and whereas par 4, right? So it's here, and par 5s, right? If you look at that, this is
Yeah.
much longer,
Yeah.
right?
Even 3 is very long. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 is long, but it's only a par 4. It's only 349. It
Okay.
looks long, but it may not be to scale, right? So, but this is the distance. Now, if you look at that, there are different colors here: white, gold, red, right?
So this is in feet or yards?
Yards. These are all yards.
Okay.
Feet means then everybody.
I know. I understand. I'm just trying to,
I wish they were feet. No, this is actually a short course, right? So the total is 5,581 yards. Typically, most of the courses will have like more than 6,000.
So there is 3 miles more than about 3 miles.
Yeah, correct. Right?
And then there are markers on each, hole throughout the.
So if you look at that, right? So white, if you total, it is 5,581.
Yeah.
Gold is 5,104 and red is 4,876. Can somebody tell me what is the difference between white? Who plays white?
Normally red, ladies play red.
Typically, kids play the shortest course. Then comes the ladies.
Yeah, typically red means ladies, right? So red is ladies, and
Oh.
gold is seniors.
Oh, seniors. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do
We
the
are
kids
always
play
old,
from?
I think.
Older
Where
people
do the
like me
Yeah.
can play. I mean, I normally play white, but I am allowed to play gold.
where do the
Anybody can
kids play from,
gold.
Nari?
Yeah, sorry.
Where do the kids play from?
Kids probably they will play red or I mean, it depends on. Some kids are really good.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm talking about maybe
No,
10,
kids,
11
there
year
is nothing.
olds.
In scorecard terms, there is nothing for kids, right?
Okay.
So red is ladies, gold is seniors, white is normal people, and there is also blue. Good players, professional players play from
Champions.
blue.
Champions.
Yeah, champions. They might have even other thing, but right. So and then there is something called a handicap.
Mm-hmm.
So Vish, do you know what handicap is? You have played golf. Tell me. This one. What is 11, 3, 7? What are
The
these?
last row.
Can anybody tell me?
Is this something for you give for a newbie or somebody you just give like a little bit of a leeway? Is that what handicap is? Or
11th a tough hole.
But what does 11 mean? What does 3 mean?
11th
11
tough hole.
3.
11th difficult hole. 3rd difficult hole.
Right. So if wherever it says 1, that is the most difficult hole to get a par. See, if you look at it, it's par 4 and it is 411 yards. Right? It's pretty long. Whereas 479 is par 5. Right? So this is the most difficult hole to get a par in. Right? So, and this is the second most difficult. And this is the easiest hole. So you have a par 4, it's less than 300 yards. Right?
It's
So what
not,
does 11
usually-
mean here?
it's not a function of the
11th
distance. It's some other difficulty level. Is it?
11th most difficult. So each one is the most difficult. And then there is some, somebody said about, giving advantage to beginners.
Yeah.
Yes, that is also involved in this. So this actually is used for let us say that if somebody is a very good player, right, and they normally score like 80 or something total, right, instead of 70 they score 80, right, 10 over par, whereas another person scores like say 100, right? So he's probably a beginner or something. He scores 100,
Mhm.
right? But that is the beauty of golf. You can play with anybody. You can play with Tiger Woods also, right? Because the weakest player will get what is called a handicap. So handicap is in two senses, right? So the handicap here means difficulty, and also handicap means this rating is used to give advantage to the weaker person, right? So automatically, right? So one shot advantage will get. So it is a complicated thing. I think as a beginner, you are not you as long as you know that this is the difficulty of the hole, that is good enough. You don't need to know that. We will cover that in some advanced session.
So we may not even use it to start with, right?
Yeah, we don't use it. We just play.
Yeah. Nari,
Okay.
question for you here. I know I have friends who play golf very, at the competitive level. All of them ask me one question. What is your handicap?
Right?
I know I am I play golf maybe once in a year or even once in 2 years. How the hell do I know where to get my handicap?
So
I just say 4.
no, 4 is an extremely good golfer.
No. I mean is give me 4 shots on each one I'll go.
Oh, each one. Okay.
Handicap
So typically, okay, what is your handicap means? So typically, let us say that if you consistently score around 80, right? So there are complicated rules for calculating handicap, right? There are formulas and all that. But I'm just giving you roughly, right? So let us say that if you are a bogey golfer, right? In each hole, you take one extra shot. So that means instead of 70, you got a 88, right? So
Okay.
that means a handicap of around 18, right? That's what it means.
Okay.
So the difference, normal, how many shots you will get minus the par. That is the handicap. But strictly speaking, that is just a rough calculation, but there are actual calculations. It depends on your last 20 times you played and all those things.
So Nari, effectively, because you're inexperienced, it allows you to subtract some amount from your total.
Right. So if somebody asks you what is your handicap, you say that I don't play enough to have a handicap. That's it. Otherwise, you can say if you want to be more realistic, I think you will. How much do you get when you play? Around 100, right? So you said you play occasionally once a year. 100 is actually a good score for a beginner, right? So
Who, me? You're talking about, Nari?
yeah,
Yeah, probably. It's been a while.
yeah, right. So
Probably, yeah.
You can say around 25.
1995.
Yeah, 20. You can say 25 handicap, but maybe worse than that. But
No, they will say, go reach the last hole. We'll come after you.
yeah, sorry. Just last slide on handicap. Sorry, on the scorecard. This is how you enter your score, right? So you put different people's name. In this case, only John played. Other people didn't play, right? So John, he just put different scores, and also this is not strictly needed. How many times he hit the fairway, how many times he hit the green, right? And number of putts. This is just you can keep track of for yourself. Whereas this is not, if you are really maintaining the score, this is the score that you have to maintain. And in PGA, it is extremely important that you have the correct score. Otherwise, you will get disqualified. Actually, one person, Matthew Wolf, got disqualified in the latest Masters because he entered a wrong score by mistake. And then he got disqualified. Okay. So,
but Nari, just a quick question on that, back to the scorecard. How is the, I mean, is that like how much margin you won or something? How is the winning?
See, normally, if you have allowed for a handicap and other things, just the total, whoever has got the less score wins.
Right. So there's nothing like by how much did you win, right? I mean, it's not like how low.
That in the PGA tournaments it matters because they rank everybody, right? They rank everybody.
Right.
So they rank everybody compared to the winner. So they say, +1, +2, +3, like that.
Okay.
See, the beauty is, you basically play against yourself all the time,
Yeah,
better
exactly.
yourself.
Right.
That's one of the fun things about golf.
Yeah.
Right.
No matter how you play, you feel like you
Yeah.
feel that you can play better than
Like
next.
we don't even sometimes we don't even tell our score to others, right? You just maintain
Yeah,
your own score and keep going. Particularly, it's very convenient with apps. You don't have to. Normally, we used to maintain like a common scorecard where everybody knows everybody's score.
Right. Okay.
Now we just maintain our own app and nobody has to know the score. So it is not. There is no pressure. There is no unnecessary competition, right? We just play for fun.
Sure.
But a lot of people play for money and other things. Then they make it more interesting, right? Okay, so this is a typical golf course layout, right? So here you can see my mouse, right? So this is called the clubhouse, right? So the clubhouse, that is where you go and pay and change. Depends on the level of the club, right? So if it is a country club or something, like they have very nice arrangements for changing and taking shower and all those things. But in public courses, this would be a very small place. But one thing is common is they will all have beer and alcohol and other things in the clubhouse, right? So you can pick up. They don't encourage you bringing your own beer and stuff, but they will sell you beer, right? So and this is also called 19th hole, right? Because after you finish all the 18 hole, you go and have a drink with your friends. That is the 19th hole.
Okay.
Right? That is the social aspect of it. And if you see the 9th hole, this is where 9th hole ends, right? So this is the green for the 9th hole, and this is the green for the 18th hole, right? So this is the practice putting hole, right? So this is where 18. So 18 and 9 will be very close to the clubhouse. So when you finish, and one will also start from, one is not shown here, but one is somewhere here, right? So one is you start with 1 and then you keep going to. So if you go to finish in this is the hole where the green is, right? So and then you start from the next tee, go 3, like that you keep going, and then you will come back to the clubhouse normally at 9, right? So when you come back the clubhouse, if you are just playing 9, you can just stop, or people typically take a bio break, a refill with beer or coffee or snacks and something, and then they start on 10th, right? So there will be normally a break between, because you already played like 2.5 hours, right? And so you take a break after 9, like 5 minutes, and then you start on 10. And then 18th hole you finish, right? So this is how the typical golf course, this is the layout. So if you take a particular par 3 hole, for example, right, I explained to you here, right? So blue, white, gold, red. So red is for ladies, right? And gold is for seniors, white is for regulars, and blue is for pros, right? So this is a par 3. That means, let us say that we are regular, right? So we start from here. This is the tee box, right? You start hitting the ball, right? So in a par 3 hole, you are expected to land on this green, right? This is where the hole is, right? So the hole is here. So you, in one shot, you land on the green, and then you use your putter to take 2 shots, and then that is how the par 3 comes. 1 shot for reaching, and it's always 2 putts, right? 2 putts, because it's very difficult to get the ball into the hole in 1 putt. It happens definitely, right? But so that is how the par 3 comes. 1 shot to get to the green and 2 shots to putt.
Sorry, I think I missed your cursor. Where is the tee box you said? Sorry.
Tee box, there are 4 tee boxes here. Pros, blue.
Oh, like that. Okay, got it.
So
Okay.
depending on where you are starting, right? So
Okay.
that is, so you see, ladies always have the shortest distance. Ladies have to go only from that red to green, right?
Okay.
Whereas for pros they have to go the longest distance, and regular is white. So this is how it will be structured, right? They use different colors in different courses, but this is a typical arrangement, right?
Nari,
Where is the cup?
Nari,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Nari.
Yeah.
The ladies professionals, the LPGA, where do they hit from? Pros?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think they make special teas for them. I don't know where they are. They will not be going to yeah. I think they will probably teeing on from ladies. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Nari, where is that cup where ultimately you're going to?
It is in the green. It's somewhere in the green.
Okay.
It's somewhere in the green. It can be anywhere. They will keep moving. It is not in the same place. Every day they move it. They fill the hole and move the hole to a different place.
So does that cup? I mean, I've seen this flag kind of thing. Does it automatically
Yeah. That
put
is a
flag, or somebody has to hold
flag sits in the cup. Yeah.
in the cup? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
The flag is nothing but for you to understand where it is. Just an indicator.
Guidance. Yeah.
Yeah, that is one purpose. The other purpose is to judge the wind speed, right? So how fast the flag is waving, which direction it is waving, it gives you some idea of the wind, because the wind is also a factor in your golf shot, right?
Right.
So that is for professionals. For us, if I hit from regular and if I land in the green, I'm extremely happy, right? Whereas most of the time, what will happen? You might land short, right? You might land in what is called the fairway, right? So there is something called rough, where the grass is not that closely mown, and fairway is closely mown, and green is the closest mown, right? So the grass is hardly visible here, right? Whereas fairway, it will be slightly longer, but it will be still very nice. Grass wouldn't interfere in your shots, whereas in rough, it will interfere in your shot, because when you're hitting the ball in the club, the grass will actually hamper it. So if you're hitting from a rough, it will generally, with the same speed and force, it will go shorter distance. Whereas fairway will go longer distance, right? Fairway, it's easier to. So your idea as a golfer is to always land in the fairway or green, right? You want to avoid sand trap, right? So there is sand trap here and sand trap. All these things they put to make life more difficult for you, right? Particularly for beginners, because we'll be hitting all over and we will end up in sand trap, and then you'll take another 3 shots to come out of sand trap, right? Or rough, right? So that is how this is the typical structure of a hole, right? So sorry.
No, sorry. One thing I just wanted to add. For the sand trap, if you're when you hit the ball and it falls in the rough or fairway, you can at least practice a shot to move forward. But when it falls in the sand trap, you're not allowed to practice. You just have to hit it. The more you practice, I think it causes a penalty, I think, right?
So you cannot touch the sand except for the shot, right? So your club should not touch the sand unless you're actually hitting the ball, right? So in fairway and rough, you can take practice shots, but here you can take practice shots, but without touching the sand.
Okay.
So you cannot touch the sand because it can disrupt the ball, right? It can disrupt your ball, other ball, and so on, right? So that is why they don't allow you to touch the sand. So you can touch the sand only when you are hitting the ball. Actual shot can touch the sand, but otherwise practice shots cannot touch. I think that's what you were saying. Yeah.
Also, Nari, the path from, let's say, the tee box to that hole is not exactly perfect horizontal ground, right? It could be sloping.
Oh, yeah. It can be going up, going down. There can be water. You can be crossing water, all sorts of things.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And this is I have not marked here, but this is a par 4 course. So the main difference is that you are not expected to land on the green in your first shot. You are expected to land somewhere in fairway, and then second shot to the green, right? So that is how the par 4 comes. First shot onto the fairway, second shot to the green, and then 2 putts. So that is how that is how you get the par 4.
Okay.
So somebody was asking clubs. So most of the people I have recommended is something called a Callaway Strata. Callaway is actually one of the top companies in golf, and they have a club in Amazon like $299 for a 12 club set. I have given the link here, right? So I will explain all the clubs in the set. So if you see, this is the bag. You have a lot of space for keeping your balls, your tees, your water, and also the clubs, umbrella, and then it has got a stand also, right? So all these clubs I will explain. So if you see, this is the biggest one is the driver, and then these are all woods, and these are all irons, and this is the putter, right? So here also it says putter, wood, iron, hybrid. Hybrid is between wood and iron, so it is a multi-purpose thing. This they say that hybrid is easier to play than iron for longer distances, right? And wedge is for shorter distances. So basically the way it works is it's angle, right? So I will show you a table with different angles. The higher the angle, shorter the distance it goes. So that is how you have to play. How do you choose a club? Based on where the ball is and how far you have to go, right, to the green or to the next shot, right? So depending on that, you choose the club.
There are for each type there are multiple.
Yeah, numbers. So so these are all woods, right? So if you look at that, it has got 18 degrees, right? So it shows you the
Okay.
degrees. So this is number 1 is the driver. This is number 3. If you can see number 1 here, right? Number 1 is the driver, and number 1 is around 10.5 degrees, 10 to 11 degrees. That is what is number 1. And this is also number 3, which is like 16, right? And iron, so this has got number 7 here, right? And yeah, so this you see the groove. So the groove, normally that is why you have to keep it clean. Otherwise, the idea of groove is it will put some spin on the ball, right? So when the club hits the ball, it will put the spin so that it will either come back and it won't go too much. So you have to keep this club clean.
Inari, just a quick question here. So when you look at golf sets, does it like individually, does it depend upon your sort of height of the individual, and are there different sizes which one needs to use, or all of these are just standard irrespective of your personal?
Yeah, I mean, see, you are beginner, right? So you don't want to spend too much money, I hope. I mean, if you are, there are ways. You go to Golf Galaxy and they will set you with a personalized golf club. Each club will cost you $300, right? So you can definitely do that. So, but I don't see the advantage of that. All of us are between like 5, 6 to 6 or something, and the standard clubs you don't need thing. Only for juniors there is different, and ladies there are different clubs. And but it's basically men, junior, and ladies. Those are the 3 models. And then for older people, they have like a senior. It's a slightly
lighter.
But you don't need to worry about that. Just buy the standard one. Whatever link I have given, I will share the tech later on. Just
do you not, Nari? Do you not get this on rent from that their administration?
Yeah, they will charge you a lot of money, and if you play a few times, it's not worth. And also, you want to have your own clubs so that you know your clubs. Otherwise, there will be all sorts of differences. You will not have a good experience with renting a club. Of course, if you are traveling to Orlando or something like that and you're playing in a foreign,
right.
then you can rent. But otherwise, I would not recommend renting always, right?
Yeah, if you're playing regularly near your
Yeah, and
home,
it's like 300
yeah.
bucks, right? Very good club, and many people I have recommended, they love it. They have kept it for like 5 6 years, and they're still playing with that,
Hmm.
right? So this is not the first time I'm teaching, right? I have taught a lot of people, and I mean, Vish was in my previous class, right? Vish, right?
No, this is first time.
Yeah, yeah, but we have I think you missed my previous class, but we have gone out a few times, right?
Yeah.
So
Nari, another point you have to make is left-handers have a different club than the
I
right.
was about to ask you that question actually.
yeah,
I play left-handed because I play cricket left-handed.
correct,
So,
correct.
Yeah, see that in other sports there's no difference in the bat, but here left-hander cannot play the right-hander club.
Correct. Yeah, that's a good point. Yep, absolutely.
Hmm.
So,
Hey Nari, this is Abhinav here.
yeah.
Hey, I snuck in.
Oh,
Hey, one other thing, just for everybody, we're talking about clubs. I think the set that Nari has suggested is quite good, actually. A lot of people, it's a really good beginner club set. One thing to look out for, and I fell in this trap as well, is you'll see that you'll have slightly different variations to the same set of clubs that you've got, and the variation will be in the type of shaft that's there. There's a stiff shaft, a regular shaft, and then there is I think it's a silver shaft or something, they call it like that.
yeah,
Stiff shaft,
senior, right? Senior.
senior. Yeah. So the stiff shafts is more for the pros and
Yeah.
the advanced. The regular is pretty decent, and it also depends on how fast you swing the club. But generally between the senior and the regular, and by senior I don't mean any disrespect to any other seniors. I was told myself when I was quite young that hey, you should you swing so slow that you should go with the senior staff
Right.
shaft. So just
Yeah, but
keep that in
I
mind.
would recommend just buy the standard one, right? Don't
Yeah.
don't bother with that is why I did not cover that, right? So senior and stiff, you just buy the standard one. You
Standard
can-
regulars,
once you become familiar, then you can always spend more money and custom clubs
Yeah.
and other things. Yeah.
Right.
So these are all some of the wedges, right? So there are different types of wedges depending on the degrees, right? Pitching wedge you will use quite a lot, right? Pitching wedge is 48 degrees, right? And sand wedge is like 56 degrees, and gap wedge is between pitching and sand, right? So between pitching and sand, that is 52 degrees. So depending on the distance, so pitching will go longer. So the lower the angle is, it will go longer, right? So if you remember, I said the driver is like 10 degrees, right? So here, when we are talking about wedges, you are talking about short distances. When you're pretty close to the green and you want to reach the green, right? So you don't want to overshoot. So you have to select the right club. So many of the sets will have only pitching wedge and not even probably sand wedge. So, but these are all some additional things you can pick up later in second hand or something like that. But it's not really needed. Most of the time, pitching wedge and sand wedge should be enough. So these are all some of the names of the club itself, right? So the top one is the grip, right? So that is where you hold, and I'll show you how to hold it. And then you have the shaft. Shaft is connecting the grip and the head, right? So the club head, and so if this is a wood, right? So the portion near the shaft is called the heel. It's exactly like your leg, right? So where is your heel and where is your toe? That's what you have to remember, right? So your heel is lower connected to the shaft, and then toe is connected to the outer edge, right? And the whole thing is the club face. So typically you are supposed to hit the ball in the middle. Sometimes you might hit it with the toe, sometimes you might hit it with the heel, right? So it depends on where you hit. The ball will go into different places if instead of hitting in the middle, if you hit it in the toe or heel, right? So that is where the skill comes from, right? So skill and practice comes from whether you are hitting it in the middle, right? So this is the same thing here. This is for the iron. Okay, so let us look at the angles, right? Again, so angles of the clubs. So driver is 7 to 11 degrees. So 7 is really for professionals and stuff. So typically for us it will be 10.5, 11 or something like that. And then 3 wood, 3. So if you remember, the higher the number, it will go less distance, and for getting less distance is the angle is more, right? It is all physics, right? If the angle is more, then the ball will travel less distance. That is why driver is very, very flat, so it doesn't have much angle, so that the ball will travel a lot of distance, right? So these are all the angles. So 4 iron is 25, 5 iron 28. Typically 4 iron you won't get it in the club set, because that will be all hybrids.
Nari, I have a question. If you're using the different clubs to control the distance based on the angle, does that mean that when you hit it, like you kind of use more or less the same force every time with all the clubs?
Yes, so most of the longer distances you use the same swing, except when you are in a very, very short distance to the green, you will adjust it, right? Because all the other places that you use the same swing. Yeah.
Okay.
So pitching wedge is 45 degrees. So it'll may vary 1 or 2 degrees, right? So this actually shows you like average distances. Actually, this is pretty correct actually. So of course Abhinav hits a driver like 250 yards or something. But
I don't do that anymore.
Not anymore.
I haven't played for such a long time.
Oh,
But yeah,
really?
we
What
were
happened?
pretty close actually. I think I'm going to start playing this year though. I've been really tied up before.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I
got a
got
lot of partners from this new class.
Nice. We'll go to Pickering Valley and then try it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nari, you probably will talk about this, but the ball is actually kept on a tee, right? Or it's tee.
Only for the very first shot. After that, you should not touch the ball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have some slides on tee.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
So driver, you hit around 225 yards, right? 3 wood 210 yards, 5 wood 190 yards. So typically it will be 10-yard difference for each number, right? 180, 170, 160, like that. So it's not strict thing, right? This is not for, obviously different people will hit different distances. Professional. So like for example, right? This Bryson DeChambeau, he hits like 300 his average is 320 yards. Average. And sometimes he hits up to 370 yards.
Wow.
Yeah. Right? So most of the PGA players, they hit more than 300, right? Whereas 300, we never get it unless it is a sloping thing or something. I typically hit only around this. I think for me, this was perfect. I think I almost hit the same distance as an average men player. And if you see, women's is much shorter, right? I was actually surprised to see this. Right? So there's like 40 yards difference in 3 wood. That is why you give them advantage, right? So now you know why red.
Because they start from a closer, right? They start from a closer too.
Yeah, that's why. That is why, because they hit less distance.
Okay.
That is why their tee is closer to the hole.
So Nari, like, is there a big difference in the distance one can hit the ball, like based on the golf clubs they're using, like different brands, or like around the same price range? Will they all go the same distance, or like some are
Yeah,
better?
I mean higher price range obviously will go longer a little bit, but ultimately it is based on skill.
Yeah, it's based on your how fine tuned your swing is. Like
Okay.
if I look at some of these numbers, like the pitching wedge, I'll get it up to 120 on a really good shot.
Mhm.
But 95 is a pretty good range. That's what I generally shoot for. I don't try and hit the 120 range at
Yeah.
all.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
hit normally pitching wedge 115 yards, right? So
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this, right? I mean, each one, this is the max you can hit with that iron, right? So won't you want to hit it even slower in a certain context, or is it only for the final one into the hole that you want to control the speed? You know what I'm saying?
no.
You
I
understand what I'm saying?
think if I understand what you're saying, you when you're I think the question you should ask is not how far can I hit that club. What
Correct.
the question you want to ask yourself is, let's say if it's a 200-yard hole and you love to play 100-yard shots, so you want to try and get to that 100-yard shot so you have the best chance at getting to the green.
Right.
So that's how you break it up. So if it's, let's say, a 300-yard hole, then the first shot you want to try and hit around about 200, and then you've got 100
So you
yards
choose the
left.
iron based on that decision and then go with that, is it? Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, typically you hit if it is 300 yard, you wouldn't just want to hit the first shot of the 100, right?
Correct.
You want to hit your
Exactly.
maximum so that you're closer to the hole. Whenever you're closer to the hole, you always have a better chance of reaching it.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And this is the putter, right? So putter is used only in green. Typically, even if it is outside the green, you can, as long as it is, you can hit it, you can use the putter. But typically, you use putter only in the green, and in the green, you are not allowed to use any other thing except the putter. I have some slides on putter as well. Okay. This is the most difficult thing, right? So particularly for Indians, right? So Indians play cricket, right? So how do you hold your bat? You hold it with your palm, right? So that is how you hold it. So as soon as they see the golf club, they start holding it by the palm, but it's not correct. So the way to hold it is in your fingers. See, that is a major psychological adjustment, particularly Indians have to make. So this actually, this obviously you cannot appreciate it unless you actually try it out or go to the golf course. But I will be sharing this deck and you can use this. So basically, you put your first left finger. This is all assuming that you're right-handed, right? So I don't have any slides for left-handed people. So so you put it on your finger, and here also you're holding right hand. Also, you're holding with your finger, and then slowly you slide it, and then you put your right hand on top of your left thumb, right? And snugly, securely, don't over grip it, right? So right pressure, and then that is the typical. There are different types of golf grip, but this is the most common, right? So this obviously you wouldn't appreciate right now, because unless you hold the club and practice it. So that is why once we are done with the theory class, we will schedule a time where we can meet in a golf range or a small golf course. There are a couple of small golf courses I have taught different people. One is Mermaid in Plymouth Meeting, which is only 150 yards for all the 9 holes. They have only 9 holes, and all the holes are around 150. One is 200. So there are no par 4s, no par 5s, all par 3. That is a great course for beginners, right? And it is very cheap. It's only $7 or something, right? So there are no carts and all that. You have to walk only, but it's a short course. So I have taught several people there. And another short course is in Rolling Turf in Schwenksville near Royersford in 422. That is slightly longer course. They have 12 holes. Many of them are par 3. There are a couple of par 4s. So we can definitely go there one day and play. I mean, Vish and I have played several times at Rolling Turf and so on.
How about starting with the driving range first to
we can do that.
And learn how to hold?
Yeah,
hold.
that is the ideal way. But a driving range, you wouldn't get the full flavor of actually playing, right?
Right. That's just practice.
So that is why actually it's good to go to the short course and actually play the 9 hole, including putting and everything, right? So that gives you a good flavor.
Yeah, I thought there's a driving range in Westchester also. Westchester.
There's another one, Nari, here in Limerick, before Limerick. Walds
There are
Farm.
plenty of golf driving ranges. That's
There's
No,
one.
not only driving range. The Walds Farm also has a very small one, as you said.
Oh
I think
yeah,
most of them are all par 3.
Waltz, right? Waltz.
Yeah, Walds.
Waltz farm. Yeah, I know.
We should go this
Yeah,
summer
Waltz
once
farm
the
is
weather
actually
gets
not
better.
a bad idea because they have only like 50-60 yards. So it is a chip and putt course. Yeah, that is a good idea as well.
Harry, can you go to the previous slide, the holding clubs?
Why?
I just want to see. I missed that. You went to previous one.
Yeah. This is just
No, previous one. Yeah, okay. This is a different angle. That's why.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So same thing. It shows you that hold with your finger and put your right hand over the left thumb. That is the whole. But it's from a different angle. And this is slightly more theory. I thought you can read it later. And stance, right? So this is very important, right? So here there are 2 wrong stances and 1 right stance. So basically, you want to keep the right distance. You don't want to bend too much. You don't want to keep it too long, and you don't want it to keep it too short as well, right? And so you basically, you stick your butt out and have that right sort of stance. So actually, this explains to you further. So here she is playing an iron, right? So this is for the iron stance, right? So it says that the ball is here. Ball is slightly in front of the center, so between her legs. Feet no wider than shoulder width apart. So don't spread your 2 feet too wide, right? And shaft is leaning forward. And weight is balanced equally between. You don't put this is for iron, right? Driver, it is different. Driver, most of the weight is in the back foot, right? So this one, weight balanced equally between feet. Hands ahead of the ball. So if you take a vertical line, it's ahead of the ball. And shoulders tilted left to right, so slightly the left shoulder is higher than the right, and head slightly behind the ball. Of course, this is the perfect stance, right? So slowly you have to try. Different people have slight different approach, but this is the sort of a theoretical approach. And where do you position your ball, right? So this is actually very important. For driver and woods, position the ball forward in your stance of the inside of your left heel. So this is the driver, right? So if you look at the driver, so the ball is very close to the heel. Whereas for irons and hybrids, it's almost in the middle. And for wedges, it is slightly less than the middle, right? I had right of center. So
that is more towards the toe, is what you're saying.
Yeah, more towards the right leg.
Oh, you mean that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this way.
Okay.
So this again goes into some depth on the setup. Feet shoulder width apart, slight bend in the knees, the slight bend. Back should be straight and slightly bent forward. Arms should hang freely from the shoulders. Golf ball should be placed between the feet off the inside of the left heel. Right? So that's what it is.
Nari, does that app that you use give the tips on there so we can practice?
No, app doesn't give you tips, but they do have something. But there are a lot of YouTube videos and all that. You should watch.
Okay.
If you just go and put in YouTube golf beginners, golf grip, golf swing, then there will be a lot of videos, beginner videos. Put beginner videos. You will have a lot of YouTube videos.
Okay.
That's what I recommend watching, right? So this is just the theoretical here, but they will go step by step and tell you the whole thing, right? So this is the positioning. This is the back. Second one is the backswing, right? So backswing, the club goes all the way to your back, and then you start swinging towards it, and then this is the follow through, right? So follow through, finally you end up with the club on your shoulder, right? So this is the full swing.
I think normally people recommend taking some, coaching.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So if you take
Yeah,
start with,
1 or 2
then all
2
these
hours.
beginning.
If you take 1 or 2 hours coaching, then they will actually teach you the correct grip and everything, right?
Right.
So
I think
I
they will
can
make
show
you
you,
practice
but
also.
the problem is, I'm not a professional. They will they will teach you the right way.
Yeah. For example, in our this golf course, there is a PGA guy.
Yeah,
He is qualified, like certified to give training.
correct,
They charge typically, I think, some $60 or $70 per hour or something.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a big question. So, how do you keep track of your ball? Because there could be so many balls on the course, right?
Yeah, you have to mark your ball. You
Okay.
have to mark it in a particular way. You can put an initial, or you can put
Okay, got it. Okay.
something, right? And so this is the short trajectory, right? It has got different name.
Make sure you take extra balls because you're going to be losing them anyway. Everyone loses.
Right. Yeah, you cannot just play with one ball. You will need initially you will need at least 4 or 5 balls because you'll keep losing balls. There'll be water, there'll be woods. Once it goes into woods, you cannot find it.
Every day, I go for a walk that side, and every day I get 3 or 4 balls.
Oh, you're already set up for balls.
I already got 100 balls. Because they are just lying there. People throw it, they just hit it, they don't find it. They don't waste time. They go forward.
And
And people who come for walking like me, then we find it lying there. So then I just pick up
they are marked differently also, right? So.
And Nari, these balls don't wear out, right? I mean, these are.
Oh yeah, they do wear out.
Okay.
These balls are also, you're saying they're different?
No, each person will have a mark, right? So they will put a X or some line.
You mean colors they can use?
Yeah, color, and also they will put a marker on the
marker. Okay. Yeah, they will use that.
Yeah.
And also you find when you are there, some small, what do you call this? I don't know, the ball, you can first of all keep ball on something before hitting, right?
That's what you mean.
4. Yeah, 4.
First one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay,
And then
I think we are already close to 9. So we will probably wind up at 9, and then we can continue another day, right? So I want to cover a couple of more slides at least, right? So so typically you want to go straight, right? But sometimes the ball goes in different directions, and they do have a name, right? So you have to know the names of these things, because people will use those words, right? So if instead of going straight, if it goes all the way to a lot of left, it's called a hook, right?
Okay.
And
reminds me of cricket, where you have a gully and slips and
right. So hook is
Nari, for a left-hander, I have to map it the other way, right?
Hook is most likely unplanned, right? So you are trying to go straight, but you made a mistake, so the ball is going. So that's a hook. But then there are some players who play draws, right? That is a planned shot, right? So the planned shot because the golf course is probably doglegging to the left or something. They will draw the ball, right? So draw is actually a good thing, but it's still you most of the time you want to go straight. So slight left is called draw, and huge left is called hook, and slight left is right is called fade, and huge right is called slice. And most of the beginners, they will slice the balls. They want to hit straight, and the ball will end up on the right.
Also due to air, it can blow.
It can do to air, but most likely you are slicing because of a couple of things. You are not hitting. You are not hitting in the middle, or you are tilting your club. I do have some slides. That's why I don't want to rush this and finish it today, right? So because I do have a lot of material. I have 65 slides. I don't know how many slides we have covered, right?
Not
So
for a left-hander, I'll have to understand this the other way around, right? Left to right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then you just mishit the ball, and it just goes on the ground, it goes way right. It is called push, and way left is called pull, right? So as I said, the draw shots and fade shots, they are actually deliberate shots, right? So how to play draw? I mean, this is a bit advanced. I don't think you will need it straight away, but it is there. So basically, you tilt your legs, right? So they are not in level. So this has been it won't be there. They have just kept it here. This for showing you how it is, right?
Yeah.
So the direction, and if you
you have to stand like that.
Left foot is
putting more pressure on the left.
Left foot is closer to the ball, then it is a draw, right? Draw means what? It will go left or right?
Left.
Right.
Left.
That is correct. So the fade is it will go right? So actually here, so you are aiming right and it will go left, and you are aiming left and it goes right. So it's the other way around. So here,
Nari, I think now we can even start understanding if you watch professional games.
Exactly. Yeah, that is a very good point, right? You should watch golf channel if you have, or at least in the
golf channel,
golf tournaments.
Right,
you'll understand much better now after this theory class, right?
Yeah.
So the club face, right? Club face, there are three names: square, open, and closed, right? Square means the club face is exactly perpendicular to the ball, whereas open means it's facing out, right? You are standing here and then you are facing out, then it's called the open. Open club face might result in a draw or a hook, right? Whereas closed club face will may result in a fade or a slice. So it is the other way, right? If you are facing it open, then it might actually go left. It is the other way, because it puts the spin on the ball. Okay, so what time is it now? So, okay, I think we will probably, I don't want to hold you too long, and it's already an hour and a half. Any couple of minutes, any questions?
Typically, how much time it takes to come to a reasonable level? Like if you are playing, how many games you have to play, how many days?
Yeah, I think within like 3-4 months of regular playing, like 1 or 2 times a week, then you can be in good, fairly good position.
So like 8 to 10 plays, you can.
Yeah. So it depends on you. Say some people are like naturally skilled, right? So they will pick up much faster. Whereas some people, they may not even connect the ball, right? So that will take longer, right?
I think guided, if you go in a group and there are some people who are good, I think that way learning from them will be quite, I think, handy.
Yeah, but you have to make sure the people who are good, they're okay. The people are not.
Of course. I mean,
Because otherwise
yes, they know
I'm wasting
they
time.
know they are helping you. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah. You can. Yeah. Typically, regular players wouldn't want to go with beginners. So,
I
Right.
know.
so
I mean, some of your friends can do that. Yeah.
yeah. Right. So
Like my son-in-law is a champion actually. He plays very professional. In fact, he's
nice.
a very good friend of MS Dhoni. Dhoni comes and plays in his club. Mettachan club here
Yeah.
is one of the very professional, one of the best in New Jersey. And MS Dhoni comes and plays there at least twice a year.
Oh, nice.
So my son-in-law plays with him. They are very good friends.
Cool.
So
MS Dhoni.
I'll stop the recording in case you want to.